Why don't people change? There are potentially hundreds of reasons why people tell themselves they struggle with creating lasting change, but there is one root cause. What most people think it is lack of discipline. We've all heard thousands of times we need to be disciplined, so the last thing you want to hear is another guy yapping about needing to be more disciplined while quoting Jocko and Goggins. And while those guys have the right idea and the right message for some people, too many people miss the deeper point that they try to get across. It's not about constantly doing the things that you hate, although sometimes you may need to do that. It's not about grueling workouts at 4 a.m., although that may work for some people. It's not about doing a 75 hard style program where you burn the match at both ends for a short period of time, but ultimately leads to burnout. Doing all those things takes insane discipline and can make a meaningful impact on people, but typically just for a short period of time. How many people do you know that have done 75 hard and went right back to the old habits shortly after? How many people do you know who started going to the gym at 5 a.m. for a few weeks or even a few months and haven't been back since? If you're listening to this, then 99% chance you've done one, if not both of those. You don't want to have to be disciplined for the rest of your life. That's exhausting and really fucking hard to do. Again, works for some people. But for most people, this is why they fail to make real change. They are relying on discipline. The people who make changes that last forever don't rely on discipline. These people change who they are on a fundamental level. And in order to do that, as the Stoic philosopher Seneca says, you have to persevere and fortify your pertinacity until the will to good becomes a disposition to good. You have to just grit your teeth and persevere for a long time. And I mean a long time. Until you consciously want to choose what is better for you and what builds you up versus what makes you weaker and brings you down. The early days of making better choices is hard. There's no doubt about it. You're going against your own natural instinct that you've developed over the however many years. You are trying to rewire your brain. But if you persist, then as Seneca goes on to say, how much better to pursue a straight course and eventually reach the destination where the things that are pleasant and the things that are honorable finally become, for you, the same. AKA, we get to a place where doing what's best for us is what we most want to do. It becomes second nature. That is where you need to get to if you want change. And again, this takes time. And so I've been asking myself a question I saw from Tim Ferriss a few years ago a lot this year with everything that I'm doing. And the question is, what would this look like if it were easy? And so it made me think back to times where I've had the biggest growth in my life across all areas. And the 2 points for me were the first 6 months of COVID in 2020 and the last 6 months of last year. And looking at those two time frames, there was one common denominator between the two. I committed to doing something every single day. That is when life felt easiest and I was operating most aligned with who I really am. 2020, I committed to meditating every day for 10 to 15 minutes, going on a 30-minute walk with no phone, and an hour of reading/learning something new. In June of last year, until the end of the year, I committed to running 5 miles every single day. I showed up for myself daily in one or a few small actions. One act of putting myself first for a small portion of the day, where I made it a point to get better in some aspect of my life. Whenever you show up for yourself, it's more than getting better at that action that you're doing. Every day you show up, you're keeping your word to yourself. And the more you keep your word to yourself, and the more you show up, and the more you see positive results that you're getting from showing up, it automatically starts to carry over into every single area of your life. And this is how you get to a place where doing what's best for you is what you most want to do. This is how change lasts. You have to want to do these things. They have to be desirable. You fundamentally change who you are as a person and have a brand new identity where you want to eat healthy, where you want to move your body, where you want to have meaningful relationships, where you take calculated risks, where you go after goals, where you don't let fear stop you. And at this point, there is no discipline in any of these at all because it's who you are. And so a few weeks ago, I saw something online that I liked, which was a quote that's been now I've seen hundreds of times, so I don't know who the original person was who posted it. But it says you need 3 daily wins in your life. A physical win, taking a walk, run, lifting, swimming, etc. A mental win, reading, writing, creating, playing an instrument, etc. And a spiritual win, praying, meditating, studying, growing, etc. And I think that's a beautiful framing of it. Simple. And if you commit to these 3 daily wins for the next 6 months and show up for yourself every single day, your entire life is going to change. And it doesn't need to be some super hardcore thing, but it needs to be something that you'll actually stick to. So here are 2 things you need to take into account when setting your wins. It needs to be something that you can do no matter where you are at. So if you're thinking of a physical win, it should basically just be something you can do with your body. 10,000 steps, run 5 miles, 100 push-ups, whatever it may be. But don't tell yourself you're going to go to the gym every day, because there's probably a day where you're not going to be able to go to the gym or not near a gym. Same thing with mental. Don't pick that you're going to play the piano every single day, because there will probably be a few days where you're not around a piano. So choose things that you can do no matter where you are. And the second thing to think about is the amount of time to put towards these. The reason that 75 hard doesn't work is because it's like 3 hours per day of shit that you need to do. Ain't no one got time for that. And even if you do got time for that, ain't no one who wants to really do that. So keep your 3 wins to things that will take 45 minutes or less to do. Everyone has 45 minutes in their day. And if you say you don't, take a look at your phone, see how much time you're spending staring at the screen, and you will see you will have 45 minutes that you can put towards things. And so we want wins that are challenging but achievable, no matter what. I chose to run 5 miles every single day last year as a physical win. Well, maybe your physical win is running 2 miles, or doing 100 push-ups, or walking 8,000 steps, 10,000 steps, 14,000 steps, whatever it may be. Depends on what an achievable challenge would be for you. And the last thing to think about, or to know, it is easier to be 100% committed than 99% committed. There's a Kobe video that I love where he's talking about his mindset for his summer training plan. And he says, I am not negotiating with myself. The deal was already made. This is the training plan I'm doing. I signed that contract with myself. I am doing it. Then he goes on to say, you'll start talking to yourself like, man, I think I need to, maybe if we, nope. The contract was signed. That is the mindset you need to have. Sign the contract with yourself. James Clear talks about habit stacking in his book, The Atomic Habits, as one of the best ways to stick with new habits. And so the habit stack I made last year was, if I'm alive, I run 5 miles before I go to bed. Didn't matter what time of day I needed to do it. It just had to be done. Sometimes I ran at 4 a.m. Sometimes I ran at 10 p.m. but I always got it done. So for you, habit stack, if I'm alive, plus 100% commitment to getting my wins, whatever those 3 that you choose for yourself. And once you adopt that mindset, it's inevitable that you win. So lock in, stick to your word, show up for yourself. In 6 months, you'll barely recognize yourself. And I believe in this so much that I'm in on this with you. I'm committing to 3 wins for the rest of 2024 right now. As I record this on June 23rd, my physical win is going to be 100 push-ups every single day. I already do a lot of other training, working out 4 times, lifting another 4, 5 times, running each week. And so 100 push-ups is going to be something that keeps me focused. The mental win is reading 30 minutes per day. I am at my best whenever I'm reading, but it is one of the first things I let go whenever I say life is busy. And so committing to at least 30 minutes a day helps me disconnect from technology, helps me learn new things, and allows me to do something that I enjoy. And then the spiritual win is praying for 5 minutes. I have recently started going back to church at the beginning of this year, re-exploring my faith, and praying has always been one of the hardest parts for me. Don't really know what I'm doing, not very good at it per se. I know some people say there's no right way to do it, but I'm going to commit to 5 minutes a day. And so hold me accountable to these. Again, remainder of 2024, 100 push-ups every single day, reading for a minimum of 30 minutes, praying for 5 minutes. And again, this stuff is going to take me 45 minutes max to do. Short, concise, but something that you are able to show up for yourself every single day and prove that you keep your word. Hold me accountable. And send me a DM if you commit to something. I'd love to follow along with you. Good luck.